Welcome to Interviews. This is Dr. Haig. John, I'm your host, and I have with me Dr. Ray Paris. And I'm so excited to have you on. And welcome to Interviews. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you from? What brought you to chiropractic and so on?
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Haig. Happy to be here. And yeah, originally I'm from Melbourne, Florida. So that's awesome. We're
Yes.
kind of in the same place there. Um, but yeah, as far as the journey, I'd say the journey started as a young child. I always had a strong inner knowing of the body's natural ability to cleanse and heal, and always had a strong sense of bodily autonomy. And as I continued to grow up, I naturally moved in the direction of healthy lifestyle and healthier eating and exercising, even despite all the people around me who could care less about eating a healthy lifestyle, whatnot, and sometimes even being made fun of or ridiculed. Um, but anyways, kind of fast forwarding into my late teens.
Well, let me ask you about that. What does it mean to be healthy to you? What's that? What did you call it? Body consciousness? Is that what you said?
Yeah, bodily autonomy. Like,
Body autonomy. I like that. What does that mean? What does that mean to you?
so for me, I just having a strong sense of what I believe the constitution of my body is made up as, and also what makes up a naturally healthy body. And so I always, even though I didn't have necessarily the words or the true understanding, I just knew I was very uh, against putting any kind of medications in my body, taking
Sure.
injections. I didn't like going to the medical doctor, that kind of thing. So somehow I just had this inner knowing. Later knew, just like animals do when people get sick, we naturally fast and rest, and then the body just does what it does naturally because it's infinitely intelligent. Of course, I understood that a little bit more later on in life, but somehow I had this natural knowing as a young child. I feel like.
And how that blossomed now into being, where did you come from? And then, from like you were working before, you told me some of the story. I'm trying to, not let the cat out of the bag too fast. But, and then got you into chiropractic. Now you've just graduated chiropractic school. So you've been on a journey, of health and healing, and you've helped people get well in one way, and now you've switched even to enhance that even more. Am I kind of following that train?
Yes, sir. That's correct. Yeah, yeah, in my I was in college for a couple of years. I wasn't pursuing any particular degree, but then somehow I found myself interested in becoming a nurse. I
Yeah.
sort of needed a real career, something more stable, and somehow I connected nursing with health and wellness. So I went to school, graduated, and got out, and it didn't take long for me to realize my naivety that nursing really had nothing to do with living a healthy lifestyle, or health and wellness in general. And so unfortunately I sort of got burned out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And yeah, I stuck with it for a long time, and eventually I had this inclination because I was getting beat up myself. I felt
Hmm.
like I was getting really worn down really fast, and I didn't like that. So somehow I sought out a chiropractor. All I knew at the time, I had a very limited perspective of what chiropractic really was at the time. And I just knew I had a lot of neck pain and low back pain. I
Yep.
just didn't feel well. And
Yeah.
so, anyways, I saw a chiropractor, and just like I'd hoped, I felt great after that first adjustment. But it was also a big perspective changer for me, because not only did I just feel better pain wise, but I started noticing a lot of other positive benefits as well. And so it's like I could breathe better, I could see better, my digestion was better. Even
Hmm.
like this inner tension I had inside seemed to just release, and it was almost like a weighted blanket was lifted off of me. And so I became instantly passionate about chiropractic and
Wow.
kind of became obsessed with it.
Hmm.
And of course, I still was on this path of nursing, working full time, overtime every week, and I eventually got to a point where I was just totally burned out, and
Hmm.
I wanted to escape the life I was living. And my dad was living in North Georgia at the time, and he would call. We would talk every couple of weeks, and he was like, "Hey, son, you should really move up here, be closer to me, so we can spend time together." And after a few years of that, it kind of coincided with the timing. I was like, I'm ready to just get a fresh start. So my wife and I, that's what we did. We moved up closer to my dad, And as we got settled in, I got a new job. Of course, still in nursing, much less stressful than the previous job. But
Yeah.
nonetheless, I was still in the system. And I never lost track of the chiropractic thing. So I saw a chiropractor, and one day I walked in, I was in my scrubs, and he goes, "Oh, where do you work and what do you do?" And I told him I was a nurse. And he goes, "Wow, okay, so you're kind of on the other side there." And I was like, "Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I'd really love to be doing what you're doing." And he said, "Well, why don't you do that?"
Yeah.
And I kind of explained to him how daunted I was at the task of going to school. And I really was not a big fan of going back to school at all. But I always knew, as if I did go back to school, this would be the thing that I would do. And so he basically told me about the Life Leadership Weekend. And so
Yeah.
I did that. It was a couple months later. I went to the Life Leadership Weekend, and it was incredible. Felt an instant kinship with the philosophy and all the energy that was happening on campus. And yeah, so Life Leadership Weekend is a Friday and a Saturday.
Yeah.
So I had Sunday to really ruminate and sit on things and let it marinate a little bit. And then the funny part of the story for me is Monday morning, I go back to work, and all of a sudden, everybody's talking about this thing called COVID. And I kind of just
Oh,
laughed it
wow.
off. I'm like, whatever. It's just probably another, fear tactic that the powers that be to get us to do whatever. It's around that time. And but of course, like, things ramped up pretty quickly and got pretty serious. And being in that environment, and they were forcing us to wear all this PPE equipment and reuse masks. And of course, they started mandating vaccines, and they gave us no option to refuse it. And of course, like I said before, I have strong bodily autonomy, and I was like, well, I'm just not going to do that. And of course, they said, well, then we're going to have to let you go. And so for me, I'm a firm believer in synchronicity. And it was just like, wow, how could that be that I really made this commitment all of a sudden on a weekend? And then here's Monday, and I'm basically being let go of my job. And so
Yeah.
it was just like, wow, I felt a really strong sense of the universe conspiring for me to be in this position at the right place at the right time. And and also as I began, I was like, wow, it wasn't just about me feeling more comfortable in the career path that I am, but now I actually have like a real purpose in my life. And now I actually have a greater ability to serve the greater good and actually do what I've been wanting to do to help people, especially with the state of the world that it was in at the time. So, and then kind of the rest is
Well,
history.
good for you. I mean, I have, we all sort of have parallels in that story. And, I didn't work in nursing, but I remember the moment. It was actually a friend of mine. He said, "Hey, you would make a great chiropractor." And he had just gone with his buddy and his buddy's dad to a golfing weekend in Palm Springs or something. This was in California. And he goes, "You know what? This guy's dad, I loved him and I loved hanging out with him, and you just like him." And he was a chiropractor. And then, it was that's just a weird, somebody mentions it to you, like, "Oh, yeah, okay, funny." But then it stuck in my head. And then that's all I could think about. And I'm from the day with the Dewey Decimal System and a card catalog. I went to the library and I'm trying to look up stuff about chiropractic, and there's nothing to be found. I went to the college, and I went to it was actually BCC, Brevard Community College, and I went in there to look, and I just went to the counselor like, "I'm trying to find stuff about chiropractic, but I can't find anything, and tell me about it." And he tried to talk me out of it. And then notice in that moment when he started to push me away from it, it was like, it felt like it was I call it the pushback from the other side, right? Just
Yep.
that little influence over here, and say, "Oh, never mind, whatever," right? You can say that, but when it's truly in you, there's no stopping you. It is full bore, 100%. You're about to go out to the world and start serving people. You just finished. Wow. I mean, how many quarters is it now, or do they switch to tries?
It's still quarters, so it's a 14 quarter track.
14 quarters. And people don't realize, I mean, we're doing like 27 to 33 credit hours a quarter in chiropractic school. I mean, I don't even know if they allow that anymore. It's probably 26 or 27 right
Yeah.
now, their
Yeah.
max. And, but, hey, it's amazing to get through it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is stellar. It is hard work and determination. And just like you said, there's, there are people, the naysayers, people don't know it, they don't know what they're really talking about. It's just that they don't know what they're talking about, so they're going to try and talk you out of it. But life brought you to it because what's happening is a spiritual connection. You've been given a
Absolutely.
gift from God, said, this is what you're supposed to do. Go do it. And we have free will to let the little devil on the side say, oh, you can't do it. You're not, this isn't right for you, what have you. But you do it anyway, and you're going hardcore. So I'm really happy for you. I'm really excited. My office was not far from where you're from and where you were living, and I know some of your friends from into my office. So, I'm excited about it. What do you feel your future, like where you like chiropractic, where do you see that journey, now that you've I say get out of academia. I'm teaching a seminar at Sherman soon, and I feel like you never actually get out of academia now, right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
but how do you feel like now? Like, what does it feel like to accomplish that goal?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it feels great to be on the other side, and yeah, I think one of the biggest things, just like you're mentioning, is that it's a forever learning experience, and so I love that. I definitely have a lust for knowledge and to continue to grow as a person. Chiropractic school, even entering chiropractic school in my 30s, it was just like a huge growing experience,
Yeah.
and I see that for the whole future. The more I can grow, the more I can help others grow as well. So I think that's the biggest thing is whatever capacity that I'm serving in through chiropractic, I just want to enlighten those and to bring people to the light essentially and be a beacon of light. And yeah.
Well, we have a term, we have a lot of listeners that are around the world here on the podcast. So, to give people a perspective, what you just said is so chiropractic that even chiropractors, we don't realize it sometimes. And the word subluxation, that's the term in chiropractic. We have a displaced vertebra and it affects the central nerve system in communication. But that subluxation, we use the term sub means less than very often, but more often it's the term means under, like a submarine, right? And sublingual, where we put a B12 under our tongue, right? Or whatever it might be. Lux meaning light, Asian's the expression of. So under the expression of the light, we can look at it in a lack terminology, less light expression, but ultimately we're under that expression of light from above down and the inside out. And when we see that light shining from above, healing, we could just with this amazing central nerve system communicating life to the body. But BJ even asked in volume 33, BJ Palmer, he said, where is imagination stored? Where are ideas stored? Where do they come from? Where is that? Where does it originate? What's the storage unit? We don't know. Is it stored in this physical body? Is it stored in the spiritual realm? Very likely all of it, right?
Absolutely.
And chiropractic doesn't forget about that part of it. And when we get into chiropractic philosophy, that's where really it separates the understanding and the knowing of chiropractic. So I'm
Mhm.
so glad, you touched on some of those things because that's what chiropractic is really meant to be here for, is for the people to express their light at their brightest. Absolutely, positively. That's my thoughts. That's what I've gathered from 20 plus years of studying BJ and DD Palmer, and especially DD Palmer. So when you talk about the philosophy and got you passionate about it, it gets more. I mean, I've been reading the green books. I got my first green book, the one I bought because I needed answers while I was in school. So I bought Answers from BJ.
Mhm.
Wasn't really the right book to do. It was a good one, but I didn't get the answers. But where we have the mentorship and the chiropractors, where we get the from the green books, we get the readings from them, the passionate chiropractors out in the field. We have amazing researchers in chiropractic, which is incredible. And Dr. Simon Senzen, who is multiple books authored about DD and BJ Palmer. We've cited some of his peer-reviewed work and some of our peer-reviewed things that we're writing right now. And so he's going to be a guest on here in the next couple of days. We're going to have him on. I'm excited about it. So,
Nice.
where do you see yourself now, in the next trajectory? Not where you're going to practice. That's still probably up in the air for you and all those things. Have you gotten towards any techniques you really enjoy or things that you like to really connect with in chiropractic?
Yeah, as far as my approach and the techniques, I've been really immersed in the MLS, and Arno and the team have definitely been a huge impact. I don't know where I'd be without MLS. But essentially, yeah, that's where I'm at now. I've gone to BGI seminars and clubs, and I really just appreciate the tonal approach, because essentially it wasn't a DD who said that chiropractic is founded on tone. So it's like it's understanding the deeper layer to what we're doing, and yeah, that I want to be able to highlight that and really approach my care that way.
Tell me what tonal work is exactly for you. For all the people listening, what does that mean for you?
Yeah, I know it's said before, like chiropractic can be connecting man, woman, the physical with man, woman, the spiritual, and we are definitely beyond this physical body, but our physical body is the conduit to which we experience everything in our life, and we become distorted because we're in such a distorted world that we live in. And when we are totally clear and connected, we realize we could ask ourselves, who are we? Or that, like, that self-inquiry question. And we know we're not this body necessarily, and we're not our names, we're not our careers in this. So we're serving a higher power to what's really happening, the energetics on this earth. And and so tonal is kind of touching into that, our deeper sense of who we really are and what we're really here to do, and to again bring light, as you say, with the subluxation. We need to illuminate this world and illuminate the expression that everybody has within them to fully express exactly who they are, and what they would like to do in their life to bring their gifts to this world.
That's great. And I've just invited Dr. Ray Paris to be on our team for the first time for innate adjusting. And I asked him this last question because he has never come to one of the seminars before, but I know because I've been adjusted by him, you have that tone, you've got that touch where you're going to be able to roll into this, with seamlessly, because I've been doing that for 20 plus years and taught MLS with Arno too, and all those years that I did that. So I've gotten that feeling and that tone where you can just be around someone and feel their touch and perceive that adjustment. And I know I felt that in your hands for sure. And to get into just slight little bit more of what this work really is, what we're tuning into is the tuning system of the duromeningeal system. Okay. What keeps that tone, that tension? What are we talking about? Where are we connecting the dots? And we're going to go through that when we see each other. And what we're doing is giving the body permission to release or let go whatever old anchors it was holding on to. That's why we called it anchor release.
Mhm.
And anchor release was developed actually for long-term space travel. I developed it almost 18 years ago. We live on the space coast here. And so we're very connected to Lockheed and all these big companies. And, we could see this chiropractic going into long-term space travel. They are training teenagers literally right now to mission to Mars. And, we don't need to carry anything else but two hands. We could teach a multitask to a flight crew. And so that's what that was developed from. You think about it, zero gravity, you do not want to give a hard thrust. You don't know that, we have no clue. There is no way to study that, besides the vomit comet. And I wouldn't want to be doing and adjusting in a 747 plummeting towards the earth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, this is an adjustment that can be taken in zero gravity. Then
Mhm.
for also short-term space travel, low orbit, decompression, recompressive forces. So, that's where that's developed from. So we developed that for adjusting newborns and children, because it's the same light touch and we're seeing amazing results. We adapted it towards, adjusting adults as well, obviously. So there's a lot of aspects through this. And so I'm excited to teach this one in February 1st, everybody, at Sherman College of Chiropractic, and from 9 to 6 p.m. So, and register at our website, haigjohn.com, drhaigjohn.com. That's what it is. So, I can't wait to, you and I were going to have a talk really soon with Dr. Mike Murato, and he is our other team member, and he has been on staff and been my number one team member since we started innate adjusting about 2018, I believe that was. Man, I should throw a party. I'm not even keeping but getting my dates. I should keep better track of those. But we've saved a lot of lives, changed lives. But this input, when we're talking about something delicate, paying attention to our adjustment, a lot of people think we just run up and start jumping on people's backs and crunching, and some people may do that. But when we're consciously delivering a specific scientific adjustment to clear the nerve system from the earthly stressors, so the non-earthly innate intelligence, spiritual intelligence, can get to where it needs to go effectively and efficiently. That is why we do this, right? And however we describe those things in different techniques, but ultimately that's the main goal. The side effect, hey man, it's absolutely amazing. Your migraines went away, your prostate shrank, you could see again, whatever's working that didn't work, but that's still the side effect. There's so much more to you expressing that life energy. I call it God's internet, right? Expressing that life energy. You might have healed your, walnut sized prostate, but there may be a lot of other things going on. Your body's able to get to where it needs to go as effectively and efficiently with its innate intelligence, which means the ability to heal and function normally, right? That's what normal is. It's the outside world stressors, physical, chemical, emotional, because emotional is just educated, right? Educated is really the dum-dum. We're working with innate, which is literally your part and parcel of God, and the same one connecting all of us and expressing at its absolute fullest at 100% at all times, no matter what. That's in Stevenson's, right? So ultimately, it's a blessing to be a chiropractor, but the more people that know exactly what we just talked about, we're changing the world. Because when people understand how powerful they really are, then they make better choices. They make better decisions, and they listen. I mean, then the world really changes. We have healthier people, healthier thinking people. Would you agree?
Absolutely, 100%.
So,
Absolutely.
I thank you for being a part of the world changing chiropractic movement in the world, because the world needs you, and it needs as many chiropractors as we can to serve at that level. Okay. And it's serving at a level to change the world for the better, which means connecting them from earthly to spirit and having a clear conduit from above down and the inside out, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Ray, I'm excited for you. I'm going to see you really, really soon. February 1st is literally around the corner.
Yep.
And, thanks for being on interviews, man. I'm really stoked to have you. And it's good to see your face. It's been such a while, man.
Thank you so much, man. Great to see you as well. I look forward to this next seminar and being able to work with you. And there's no better expression of the innate intelligence than a newborn infant. You know, and you know, clearing the conscious right from the get go is what we need every baby to experience.
Well, my mission is honoring birth babies, honoring mothers at birth, and honoring fathers at birthing. And
Absolutely.
that is my mission on planet Earth. I know that, and help them into this world, but also work on changing the consciousness of birthing being sickness
Mhm.
into something absolutely divine, which it really is, and honoring everyone in that process. So I am literally working towards, as we speak, having chiropractors in every labor and delivery in the world. Could you imagine that?
I can't wait. It's going to happen.
Adjusting
We're going to get there.
newborns, you know, adjusting newborns' mommies so pelvis moves and opens up so we don't avoid these emergency C-sections, right? Which aren't healthy for anyone.
No,
We would literally make an impact on planet Earth. So I'm glad
absolutely.
you're on the team. I'm glad you're one of the elite few of chiropractors because I can see you right now. You're ready to change the world.
Oh, I am. Absolutely.
God bless you, my friend. We'll talk very soon.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Haig.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.